Hi students. Today we are going to be looking at poetry writing. We've already been looking at poetry in our past or previous lessons. We saw what a poem was, and we discussed the few items that make up a poem, the poetry techniques and styles of poems, types of poems, and all that. Today we are going to learn how to write a poem, and it's our focus today. Um, Remember, we said that meaning is inferred from a poem by looking at the content of the poem and the form of the poem. So it's basically what the poet is trying to convey or to lay out to us, the message that the poet is giving us in relation also to the theme, that the theme are the main lessons or the main ideas and the message that the poet or author is trying to convey. We are going to be looking for meaning and theme in Robert Frost's poem. It's a very famous poem. It's The Road Not Taken. Some of you could have heard of it or seen it somewhere. Who has heard of this poem or read it or by any chance came across it? Oh wow, at least I see some of you have come across it. But now we are going to look at this poem deeply right now and understand it, and it's now going to be your task to do this. Now I'm going to read this poem to you once aloud, and then I will group you and ask you to take your turn in demystifying or giving us the meaning of the poem and other things that you could find interesting in the poem. All right? Now, The Road Not Taken by Robert Frost. Two roads diverged in a yellow wood, and sorry I could not travel both, and be one traveler. Long I stood, and looked down one as far as I could, to where it bent in the undergrowth, then took the other as just as fair, and having perhaps the better claim, because it was grassy and wanted wear. Though as for that the passing there had worn them really about the same, and both that morning equally lay in leaves no step had trodden black. Oh, I kept the first for another day, yet knowing how way leads on to way, I doubted if I should ever come back. I shall be telling this with a sigh. Somewhere ages and ages hence, two roads diverged in a wood, and I took the one less traveled by, and that has made all the difference. All right, now as you see in this picture, we see two roads diverging in a wood, and this is up to you to interpret this picture in whatever way you want and according to the reading that I've just given. Now you are going to be divided into groups, and now JJ and Malcolm and Sam and yes, Samantha and yes, and Declan, you're going to be in one group. Now, Uzma, Hanan, Rahma, and James and John, you're going to be in another group. So, Muhammad and Khalid and Rani and Tani and yes, and Klein, you're going to be in the other group. So in your groups, you are going to discuss the meaning of the poem You are also going to you will read out the poem aloud to yourselves. You will read out the poem, discuss the meaning, what you think this poem means. Also, I want you to tell us, to be able to tell us, what do you find interesting in this poem? What is catching in this poem? What lessons do you draw from this poem? What does it teach you? So I want you also to write down those words that you think are new to you that are used in this poem. As you write them down, I would like you to use your computers and your tablets. If you want, you could Google it. If you want, you could use the dictionaries on your tables to tell us, or to tell the meaning of the words, what the words mean, the dictionary meaning, and what you think Robert Frost means when he uses these words in this poem. So you will have 25 minutes to do this. Now I want you to take numbers from 1 to 5 in your groups. Okay, let me begin with this group, JJ. So JJ, you're 1, okay, and the rest 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So number, and in this group, Umi, you're number 1, and the rest, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Here I will begin with Khalid, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. All right, so number 1 will be the speaker of the group. Number 2 is the secretary. Number 3 is the timekeeper. Number 4 is the resource person. So in case you don't have anything, the resource person should be able to walk up front and pick it up. For instance, if you want a chart to draw the pictures, because you're allowed to draw, you can draw them, the pictorial of a poem, or what you think about this poem, what this poem makes you think. You can draw it down if you wish. The charts are here for you, and you have markers and all the pencils you need. And the other person is the one who's going to be looking after the group, making sure that everything is in place. So this is to make sure that each of you has a responsibility in your group, and you can take turns in doing whatever you're doing. So your 25 minutes begin now. You can demystify this poem. So after the 25 minutes, I will call back the group and ask them to share what they have discussed in this group. So I will begin with one group, and their spokesperson will come out and read to the whole class what they understood by the meaning of this poem, and they will also tell us what themes they think are in this poem, either underlying or what they can see just by the first reading of this poem. So they will also be able to share the words, and I will be writing down these words on the whiteboard for them to refer to later on during our discussions. And I will also note down a few ideas from their themes and their entire discussion of the meaning of the poem. This will take about 10 minutes sharing with the general class. And then I will show them a video of this poem being recited on the TED show, and this is about 2 minutes, which is very good for them to hear somebody else recite the same poem. And then we will regroup them after listening to this poem, and I want them, after listening to this poem, to rediscuss anything they think that they could have missed. Looking at the pictures that will be in this poem as this lady recites it, what does this tell them? Is it retelling a new story to them? And the students who speak different languages other than English as their mother tongue are allowed to discuss in their mother tongue and interpret to the group what they have discussed in English, because now we are tapping it into L1 to help them understand the second language, which is English. So even the words that they shall have found that are new to them, they can look them up in the dictionary, interpret them in their mother tongue, talk about them in their mother tongue, and then reinterpret them in English for better understanding. So this is the video that I will be showing them. It's just a 2-minute video, so it won't take too long. Adverts. All right. So the reason as to why I like this video most is because it also has transcriptions below it as she recites the poem. The words are transcribed for especially the student that has an auditory disability. So for them to be able to visualize and see, read what the recitation is all about. So I will group them back to be able to rediscuss the poem and tell us what they want to either add or remove, or have they re-understood or got more meaning from the poem given the pictures, given the video and everything in this. So coming back to the discussion, we shall either add or remove what they will have said. Now, this is now going into the writing session where I will group them again and ask them to do in their group, think of a theme that they want to write about and write just one stanza of a poem using a theme that they like. And after that, I will give them instructions that this project that they've started with the single stanza, I want them to rewrite each of them in their notebooks and expound and write more, completing the whole poem on an individual basis, because this is their project for the whole class until we finish learning about poetry at the end of all the sessions. So they will write the single stanza in a group and then share it with the whole class. For this will take about 10 minutes. So the spokesperson from each group will read for us what they've written in this stanza. We want to listen to them recite poetry such that we can listen to their poem. This gives them motivation. Their poem is being heard, and also it helps us to get the intonation of the poem that they are writing. So basically this will be my class, and that's how I'm going to use L1 to teach L2 when writing or learning about poetry.